The sabotage. The fluorescent lights of Apex Design Studio hummed overhead as Naomi Winters adjusted her glasses and reviewed her presentation one last time. At 32, Naomi had spent the last decade perfecting her craft as a graphic designer, and this pitch for Horizon Hotels could be her big break. Her designs were innovative but practical, exactly what the client had requested. "Ready for the slaughter, Winters?" Vincent Porter's voice carried across the break room, drawing snickers from the small group gathered around him. At 35, Vincent had been with the company 2 years longer than Naomi and never let her forget it. Naomi forced a polite smile. "Just reviewing my notes, Vincent. Don't bother. Donovan always goes with my concepts anyway." Vincent ran a hand through his perfectly styled hair, his designer watch gleaming under the lights. "Remember the Greenfield campaign? Your idea was so quaint." The memory stung. Patricia Donovan, the CEO, had praised Vincent's concept while barely glancing at Naomi's work. What Vincent and the others didn't know was that Naomi had stayed up 3 nights straight preparing for tomorrow's presentation. "Determined to outshine him. We'll see," she replied, gathering her materials. As she walked toward the door, Vincent casually extended his foot. Naomi stumbled, her papers scattering across the floor. "Oops," Vincent said, his expression all mock concern. "Better pick those up before someone important sees what a mess you are." As Naomi knelt to collect her work, she heard the unmistakable click of a phone camera, followed by more laughter. She knew it would be all over the office messaging system within minutes. Back at her desk, Naomi's cheeks burned with humiliation. This wasn't the first time Vincent had undermined her. Small sabotages, backhanded compliments in meetings, taking credit for collaborative work. He had a talent for making her look incompetent while maintaining his charming facade with management. "Don't let him get to you," said Jamal, her friend from the IT department, placing a coffee on her desk. "Vincent pulls that stuff with everyone below director level." "It's not just that," Naomi said, voice low. "He switched my presentation slot to 8 a.m. when he knows Patricia always arrives at 8:30, and he somehow booked the conference room with the projector issues." "Classic Vincent," Jamal sighed. "Why not talk to HR?" Naomi shook her head. "Without proof, it's just my word against his. And he's Patricia's golden boy." That evening, Naomi stayed late, alone in the office except for the cleaning staff. She transferred her presentation to a backup USB drive and tested the secondary conference room's equipment. As she gathered her belongings, she noticed Vincent's office light still on, which was unusual. He typically left precisely at 5. Curiosity drew her closer. Through the crack in the door, she saw Vincent hunched over his desk, frantically making changes to what appeared to be tomorrow's presentation. His usual confidence was nowhere to be seen. Instead, he looked panicked, exhausted. A photo on his desk caught her attention. Vincent with 2 young children, their faces captured mid-laugh. "Mr. Porter?" The cleaning lady's voice startled them both. "Sorry to interrupt, but I need to vacuum." "Fine, fine," Vincent snapped, gathering his things. "I'm leaving anyway." As he brushed past Naomi in the hallway, she noticed the dark circles under his eyes, the coffee stains on his usually immaculate shirt. For a moment, she glimpsed something beyond his arrogant persona. Vulnerability, perhaps even fear. Driving home, Naomi couldn't shake the image from her mind. Something was off with Vincent, something beyond their professional rivalry. But tomorrow's presentation would determine whose concept Apex pitched to Horizon Hotels, potentially worth millions in business. Naomi's apartment welcomed her with its familiar comfort. Walls adorned with her photography, shelves filled with art books, and her elderly cat Pixel curled on the sofa. As she prepared a simple dinner, her phone chimed with a message from Jamal. "Heard V's concept is falling apart. His freelancer bailed. Tomorrow might be interesting." Naomi set down her phone, mind racing. This explained Vincent's uncharacteristic late-night panic. Without his usual ghostwriter, he would be presenting his own work, which, if office rumors were true, rarely matched the polished concepts he presented as his own. For a brief moment, satisfaction washed over her. Vincent was finally going to face the consequences of his shortcuts and arrogance. But then she remembered the photo on his desk, the exhaustion in his eyes. As Naomi prepared for bed, a plan began forming in her mind. Not just for revenge, but for something more complex, more challenging. Vincent Porter had made a hobby of humiliating her, but perhaps the real victory wouldn't be in watching him fall. Perhaps it would be in rising so high herself that no one, not even Vincent, could ignore her talent any longer. The revelation. The morning of the Horizon Hotel's presentation arrived with sheets of rain hammering against Naomi's bedroom window. She dressed carefully in her most professional outfit, a charcoal pantsuit with subtle burgundy accents, and reviewed her strategy one final time. Last night's discovery had changed things. After seeing Vincent's panic, Naomi had done something uncharacteristic. She'd researched him online. What she found surprised her. 3 years ago, Vincent had been featured in several design magazines as a rising star. Then nothing. His social media had shifted from career highlights to occasional photos of 2 young children. The pieces began to connect. At the office, tension hung in the air like static electricity. Naomi arrived at 7:30 a.m., giving herself time to set up in the secondary conference room, the one with functioning equipment. When Patricia Donovan unexpectedly walked in at 7:50, 10 minutes before the scheduled presentation, Naomi's heart nearly stopped. "Ms. Donovan, good morning," she managed, quickly standing. "I wasn't expecting you so early." Patricia's steel gray hair was pulled into her signature tight bun, her expression unreadable. "My 8:30 canceled. Thought I'd catch the early presentation for once." She glanced around. "Where is everyone?" "Vincent scheduled us in the main conference room," Naomi explained. "But I noticed yesterday that the projector was having issues, so I prepared this room as backup." Patricia raised an eyebrow. "Resourceful. I like that." The door burst open as Vincent arrived, his normally impeccable appearance slightly disheveled. He froze when he saw Patricia. "Ms. Donovan, We're set up in the main conference room. Ms. Winters informs me there are technical issues there," Patricia replied coolly. "Since we're all here, shall we begin?" Vincent's face paled. "Of course, but the team can join us here," Patricia finished for him. She turned to Naomi. "You're prepared to present now?" Naomi nodded, trying to hide her surprise. This was not how she'd envisioned the morning unfolding. "Excellent. Vincent, you'll follow. I'm curious to see both approaches before the full team arrives." As Naomi connected her laptop, she noticed Vincent frantically scrolling through his phone, likely reviewing his hastily finished presentation. A twinge of sympathy surprised her. Then she remembered all the times he'd undermined her, all the casual cruelties designed to keep her in her place. She began her presentation confidently, explaining her concept for Horizon Hotel's rebranding. She'd created a design system that was both sophisticated and adaptable, allowing for consistent branding across their diverse properties while honoring each location's unique character. Patricia asked pointed questions which Naomi answered with ease. When she finished, the CEO nodded thoughtfully. "Impressive work, Naomi. You've clearly considered the client's global footprint." Vincent's turn came next. His usually smooth delivery was replaced with nervous energy as he fumbled through slides that lacked cohesion. His concept, focusing primarily on luxury aesthetics, missed key requirements from the client brief. When Patricia questioned this, Vincent stumbled through an explanation about elevating the brand perception. "But their mid-tier hotels account for 60% of their revenue," Patricia pointed out. "Your concept alienates their core business." As Vincent struggled, Naomi found herself in an unexpected position. She could stay silent and watch him fail, or— "If I may," she interjected, surprising herself. Vincent's luxury concept could work exceptionally well for their premium properties. Combined with my adaptable system, we could create a tiered approach that maintains brand consistency while highlighting the unique selling points of each category. The room fell silent. Vincent stared at her, confusion evident in his expression. Patricia's lips curved into a rare smile. "That's precisely the kind of thinking we need. Complementary approaches rather than competing ones." She checked her watch. "The team will be arriving for the official presentation soon. Vincent, Naomi, can you quickly integrate these concepts before they arrive?" "Yes." Naomi answered immediately, while Vincent nodded wordlessly. As Patricia stepped out to take a call, Vincent turned to Naomi. "Why did you do that?" he asked, suspicion evident in his voice. Naomi met his gaze directly. "Because it's what's best for the client, and because I know about Melissa." Vincent flinched. "How do you—" "I overheard your phone call yesterday," Naomi lied smoothly. In reality, her research had uncovered mentions of Vincent's ex-wife Melissa, who had apparently moved to London with their children after their divorce. Custody battles are tough, especially when managing full-time work. Vincent's carefully constructed facade cracked. "She's threatening to stay in London permanently. The kids—" He composed himself quickly. "Not that it's any of your business." "It's not," Naomi agreed. "But struggling is. We've all been there. Maybe not with the same challenges, but we've all had moments when work and life collide." Before Vincent could respond, the door opened as their colleagues began filing in. The moment of vulnerability was gone, replaced by Vincent's professional mask. But something had shifted between them, a small crack in the wall of animosity. As they presented their hastily combined concept to the team, Naomi noticed something else for the first time. Vincent was actually listening to her ideas, building on them rather than dismissing them. The team responded enthusiastically to their collaborative approach. That afternoon, as Naomi packed up her desk for the day, an email notification appeared on her screen. Patricia Donovan wanted to see her, alone, first thing tomorrow morning. Uncertainty coursed through her. Had her impromptu collaboration with Vincent backfired somehow? Or was this the opportunity she'd been waiting for? Either way, tomorrow would change everything. The presentation. Patricia Donovan's office embodied the woman herself. Meticulously organized, unapologetically modern, with carefully chosen elements that spoke of understated power. Naomi sat across from the CEO's glass desk, trying to project confidence she didn't entirely feel. "Your work yesterday was exceptional," Patricia began, without preamble. "Not just the design concept, though that was excellent, but your ability to pivot and find collaborative solutions under pressure." "Thank you," Naomi replied, uncertain where this was heading. Patricia leaned forward slightly. "Horizon Hotels has requested a follow-up presentation. Their entire executive team wants to see our concept in greater detail. This is unusual. Typically, they just work with the assigned team after initial approval." "That's wonderful news," Naomi said, genuine excitement bubbling up. "Indeed, and I want you to lead the presentation." The words hung in the air between them. This was unprecedented. Vincent always led major client presentations. "What about Vincent?" Naomi asked cautiously. Patricia's expression remained neutral. "Vincent has his strengths: creative direction, client relationships. But yesterday made something clear. He's been coasting on his reputation while delegating the substantive work. Your ability to integrate his concept with yours showed me who truly understands design systems." A knock at the door interrupted them. Patricia's assistant poked her head in. "Sorry to interrupt, but the Tokyo office is on the line about the Nakamura project." Patricia nodded. "We'll continue this discussion later. The presentation is scheduled for Friday at 10 a.m. I suggest you start preparing immediately. And Naomi," she paused, "I'd like to see more of what you're capable of. Don't hold back." The next 3 days passed in a blur of preparation. Naomi expanded the concept, developing comprehensive guidelines and mock-ups that showcased how the design system would function across different hotel categories, digital platforms, and physical environments. She slept little, fueled by determination and the unprecedented opportunity before her. Vincent, meanwhile, maintained a cool distance. When they needed to collaborate, he was professionally cordial but nothing more. Office gossip suggested he was furious about being sidelined, but to his credit, he contributed to the preparation without obvious sabotage. Thursday afternoon, as Naomi finalized her presentation materials, Vincent appeared at her desk. "Got a minute?" he asked, his expression unreadable. Naomi nodded, bracing herself for conflict. "The animations on slides 12 through 16, he said. "The transitions are jarring. I've made some adjustments." He handed her a USB drive. "Also, the color palette for the budget properties needs more warmth. I've included some alternatives." Naomi stared at him, searching for the trap. Why are you helping me? Vincent glanced around to ensure no one was listening. Because contrary to what everyone thinks, what I've deliberately made them think, I actually care about good design. He hesitated. And because you could have let me crash and burn the other day, but you didn't. Before Naomi could respond, he continued. The executives from Horizon, particularly their CFO, Richard Blackwell, they're going to push back on implementation costs. I've included some talking points about long-term ROI that might help. Thank you, Naomi said, genuinely surprised. This is unexpected. Vincent's smile held a hint of self-deprecation. Let's just say recent events have prompted some reflection. He turned to leave, then paused. One more thing. Wear the burgundy blazer, not the black one. It photographs better with our proposed color scheme. Friday morning arrived with uncharacteristic sunshine after a week of rain. The conference room was prepared to perfection, from the lighting to the temperature. Naomi, wearing her burgundy blazer as suggested, reviewed her notes one final time as the Horizon executives filed in. Patricia made introductions, then turned the floor over to Naomi with a confident nod. As Naomi began speaking, she felt a familiar presence at the back of the room. Vincent had slipped in quietly. The presentation flowed naturally. Naomi guided the executives through the comprehensive brand system, addressing practical implementation concerns before they could be raised. When Richard Blackwell, just as Vincent had predicted, questioned the costs, Naomi smoothly transitioned to the ROI talking points Vincent had provided. Impressive, Blackwell acknowledged. You've clearly thought through the financial implications beyond the creative aspects. What Naomi hadn't anticipated was the question from Horizon's marketing director. This system integrates beautifully with our existing brand equity. Was this approach influenced by the Nakamura project Apex completed last year? Naomi froze momentarily. She hadn't worked on the Nakamura project and knew nothing about it. As she formulated a vague response, Vincent stepped forward from the back of the room. If I may, he interjected smoothly. The Nakamura approach actually informed our thinking in a contrasting way. While that project required a complete brand overhaul, we recognized that Horizon's existing brand equity is too valuable to discard. Ms. Winters, develop this system specifically to enhance rather than replace your established identity. The marketing director nodded appreciatively. That's exactly the sensitivity we were hoping for. As the presentation concluded with enthusiastic responses from the Horizon team, Naomi caught Vincent's eye across the room. He gave her a small, genuine smile, perhaps the first real one she'd ever seen from him. Patricia's closing remarks sealed the success. We're delighted by your response and look forward to beginning implementation. Naomi Winters will be your primary contact as creative lead on this project, with Vincent Porter providing senior oversight as needed. The words hung in the air like a verdict. Naomi had been promoted in all but official title, while Vincent's role had been subtly but significantly diminished. As the clients departed amid handshakes and congratulations, Naomi approached Vincent in the now empty conference room. "Thank you," she said quietly. "You saved me with that Nakamura reference," Vincent shrugged. "You'd have handled it, but you're welcome." He began gathering his notes. "Congratulations on the creative lead position. It's well-deserved." The sincerity in his voice surprised her. "Vincent, about your role," he cut her off with a raised hand. "It's fine. It's been coming for a while." His expression turned serious. "Just do good work. This client deserves it." As he walked toward the door, Naomi called after him. "The team is celebrating at Riverstone Lounge tonight. You should come." Vincent paused, considering. "Maybe. We'll see." As he disappeared down the hallway, Naomi found herself hoping he would. The aftermath 3 weeks after the successful Horizon Hotels presentation, Apex Design Studio had subtly reorganized itself around the new power dynamics. Naomi now occupied a glass-walled office near Patricia's, while Vincent remained at his old desk in the open floor plan, a visible reminder of his diminished status. "He's taking it better than I expected," Jamal remarked as he and Naomi shared lunch in the break room. "No tantrums, no sabotage. It's almost disappointing." Naomi stirred her soup thoughtfully. People can surprise you. Speaking of surprises, Jamal continued, lowering his voice, rumor has it he turned down an offer from Meridian Group last week. Significant raise, similar position to what he had here. Why stay where you've been demoted? Before Naomi could respond, the break room door opened and Vincent entered. The conversation halted awkwardly as he nodded to them and proceeded to the coffee machine. Vincent, Naomi acknowledged, determined to maintain professionalism. How's the Westfield proposal coming along? On schedule, he replied. The team has some solid concepts. Harrison's typography needs work, but the overall direction is promising. His tone was neutral, cooperative, a far cry from the condescending Vincent of weeks past. As he prepared his coffee, Naomi noticed other small changes. His designer watch was gone, replaced by a simple leather-banded timepiece. His bespoke suits had given way to more modest business casual attire. Even his hair was different, shorter, less product, as if maintaining his appearance had dropped several places on his priority list. Later that afternoon, Naomi found a folder on her desk containing Harrison's typography explorations for the Westfield project, along with detailed notes in Vincent's handwriting. The last page contained a post-it note. Thought these might be useful for your review meeting. VP. The gesture was small but significant. Vincent was supporting her leadership rather than undermining it. Naomi found herself wondering again about Jamal's revelation. Why had Vincent declined the Meridian offer? Her curiosity finally outweighed her caution. At the end of the day, she stopped by Vincent's desk as he was packing up to leave. Got a minute? She asked, echoing his words from weeks before. Vincent nodded, gesturing to the empty chair beside his desk. I wanted to thank you for the Westfield typography samples, she began. They were helpful. Good, he replied simply. Naomi hesitated, then decided on directness. I heard you turned down an offer from Meridian. Vincent's expression tightened slightly. Office gossip travels fast. Sorry, I didn't mean to pry, he sighed. It's fine. Yes, I declined their offer. When Naomi remained silent, waiting, he continued reluctantly. The role would have involved frequent travel to their Chicago office. With my current family situation, that's not feasible. The custody arrangement? Naomi guessed. Vincent nodded. My ex-wife returned from London last month. We're trying a new co-parenting schedule. The kids are with me 3 days a week now. A small smile softened his features. They're staying with me tonight, actually. That's wonderful, Naomi said, genuinely happy for him. How old are they? Emma is 7. Jake is 5. He reached for his phone, hesitated, then showed her a photo of 2 children with his eyes and smile. Building a precarious structure with wooden blocks. They're beautiful, Naomi said. They're the reason Vincent trailed off, then squared his shoulders. They're the reason I'm making some changes. Professional and personal. The conversation might have ended there, but Vincent surprised her by continuing. I owe you an apology, Naomi. The way I treated you, the way I've treated many colleagues over the years, was inexcusable. Naomi hadn't expected this level of candor. What changed? She asked. Vincent was quiet for a moment. Last month, Emma came home from school upset because a classmate had been making fun of her artwork. The teacher told us this boy often belittles others to make himself seem better. His gaze met Naomi's. I saw myself in that 7-year-old bully, and it was illuminating. The confession hung between them, vulnerable and honest. Naomi could have dismissed it, could have told him an apology wasn't enough to erase years of behavior. Instead, she found herself nodding. We all have moments when we see ourselves clearly for the first time, she said. What matters is what we do afterward. Vincent's phone chimed with a reminder. I need to pick up the kids, he said, standing. But thank you for this conversation. It's been overdue. As he gathered his things, Naomi made a decision. The team is reviewing initial concepts for the Horizon implementation tomorrow morning. Your expertise with their brand voice would be valuable, if you're interested. Vincent looked surprised, then grateful. I'd like that. Thank you. After he left, Naomi remained at his desk for a moment, contemplating the exchange. The victory she'd imagined, seeing Vincent humbled, possibly even fired, had materialized but felt hollow. What was emerging instead was something more nuanced, the possibility of genuine change, of professional respect built on honesty rather than competition. That evening, as Naomi worked late finalizing the implementation strategy for Horizon, her phone chimed with an email notification. It was from Patricia Donovan, with the subject line, Organizational Restructuring. The email outlined a new team structure for Apex. Naomi would formally assume the role of creative director for the corporate division, while Vincent would lead a newly created mentorship program for junior designers, reporting directly to Naomi. This structure, Patricia wrote, leverages both your strategic vision and Vincent's experience, while addressing our need for more structured talent development. Please share your thoughts before I announce these changes company-wide. Naomi sat back, processing the implications. Patricia was offering her genuine leadership, including authority over Vincent. It was everything she'd worked for: recognition, advancement, validation. Yet Patricia was also offering Vincent a path to redemption, a role that might actually suit his strengths better than his previous position. As Naomi drafted her response to Patricia, she found herself suggesting a modification. The mentorship program should be collaborative, with both her and Vincent contributing their different perspectives. It wasn't just diplomacy. She genuinely believed their complementary strengths could create something valuable. The best leaders, she wrote, recognize when competition should give way to collaboration. I believe this approach honors that principle. As she sent the email, Naomi realized how much had changed in just a few weeks. The revenge she'd once craved had been replaced by something more satisfying. The opportunity to build something better, not just for herself, but for everyone involved. The reconciliation. 6 months later, Apex Design Studios' transformation was evident to anyone who visited their modernized offices. The wall separating the creative department from the strategy team had been removed, creating an open, collaborative space. In the center, a large digital display showcased current projects, with tabs for each team member's contributions. The Horizon Hotel's implementation had exceeded expectations, garnering industry recognition and bringing a steady stream of new clients to Apex. Patricia's restructuring had proven successful, with the mentorship program becoming a selling point for both clients and prospective employees. Naomi's office door stood open as she reviewed applications for their expanding team. A knock at the doorframe drew her attention. "Got a minute?" Vincent asked, a phrase that had become something of a running joke between them. "For my associate creative director?" "Always," Naomi replied with a smile. Vincent's promotion the previous month had formalized the collaborative leadership they'd been practicing. Vincent placed a folder on her desk. "The final presentation for the Lakeside Resort is ready for your review. The team incorporated your feedback on the environmental elements. Perfect timing. I'm meeting with Patricia at 3. Vincent lingered, seemingly having more to say. "There's something else," he continued. "The mentorship showcase next week. We've had a request from Westridge College to send some representatives. Apparently, our program is becoming something of a model." "That's wonderful," Naomi said. "Who would have thought your rehabilitation assignment would turn into our competitive advantage?" Vincent laughed, the sound easy and genuine, a far cry from the calculated charm he'd once wielded. "Speaking of rehabilitation," he said, his tone turning more serious, "Emma's teacher called yesterday. She stood up for another student who was being bullied." "Like father, like daughter," Naomi observed. "You should be proud." "I am," Vincent agreed. "Though I'm not sure I deserve the comparison yet." Naomi considered him thoughtfully. 6 months ago, you called yourself a bully. Today, you're mentoring half a dozen junior designers who genuinely look up to you. I'd say that's significant progress." Before Vincent could respond, Jamal appeared in the doorway, tablet in hand. "Sorry to interrupt, but we have a situation with the Horizon mobile app. Something's off with the integration." "Show me," Naomi and Vincent said simultaneously, then exchanged amused glances. As Jamal pulled up the problematic code on Naomi's monitor, the three of them fell into a familiar problem-solving rhythm. What would once have been an opportunity for blame had become a collaborative puzzle to solve. "There!" Vincent pointed. The typography scale is inconsistent with our system. That's causing the layout issues. Good catch, Naomi agreed. Jamal, can you implement the fix or do you need support? I've got it, Jamal assured them. Thanks for the quick help. As he left, he gave Naomi a knowing look that she pretended not to notice. Vincent caught the exchange. He still doesn't entirely trust me, he observed without rancor. He's protective, Naomi corrected. But he's coming around. The Fantasy Football League helped. Who knew my useless sports knowledge would finally prove valuable? Vincent joked. Their conversation was interrupted by Naomi's calendar reminder, 15 minutes until her meeting with Patricia. I should prepare, she said. Gathering the lakeside materials, Vincent nodded. Before you go, he hesitated, then continued. Emma and Jake have been asking about Dad's work friend who makes the cool pictures. They're curious about the design studio. I was thinking, if you're free this weekend, maybe you'd like to join us at the Children's Museum? They have a new exhibit on visual storytelling that might interest you professionally. The invitation hung between them, not quite personal, not entirely professional. A bridge between their past animosity and something new. I'd like that, Naomi replied after a moment's consideration. Saturday afternoon works for me. Vincent smiled, relief evident in his expression. Great. I'll text you the details. As he left her office, Naomi found herself reflecting on the journey of the past 6 months. The revenge she'd once sought had been replaced by something far more valuable: mutual respect, professional growth, and the beginnings of genuine friendship. Later that afternoon, as Naomi presented the lakeside concept to Patricia, the CEO made an observation that caught her by surprise. Your collaborative leadership with Vincent has transformed this company, Patricia said. When I paired you two together, I wasn't certain it would work. Your styles and backgrounds are so different. Naomi looked up from her notes. You planned this? The restructuring, the mentorship program, it wasn't just a response to the Horizon presentation. Patricia's smile was enigmatic. Let's say I recognized complementary potential that needed the right catalyst to emerge. Sometimes people need to be challenged to become their best selves. Even if that challenge involves temporary humiliation and career setbacks? Naomi asked, thinking of Vincent's journey. Especially then, Patricia replied. True growth rarely comes from comfort. Vincent needed to confront his behavior. You needed to claim your rightful position. But neither of you needed to destroy the other to succeed. As Naomi left Patricia's office, she found herself smiling at the CEO's unexpected wisdom. What had begun as a quest for revenge had evolved into something far more meaningful, a lesson in professional grace, in finding strength through collaboration rather than competition. That Saturday, as Naomi joined Vincent and his children at the museum, watching Emma excitedly explain color theory with adorable inaccuracy, while Jake created abstract sculptures from geometric shapes, she realized something important. The workplace transformation hadn't just changed Apex Design Studio or their professional lives, it had changed them as people, from rivals to colleagues, from antagonists to allies, from competitors to friends. Their journey had come full circle. And as Emma grabbed her hand to show her a particularly fascinating display, Naomi understood that the most satisfying revenge wasn't in watching someone fall, but in helping them rise, and rising alongside them. The real victory wasn't in proving she was better than Vincent. It was in proving they were both better together.